that some of you said you felt this trailer showed too much, but I actually think Marvel's playing it pretty close to the vest on this one. And what I found the most compelling about this trailer, as I said in my reaction, is the script. And then when I did my notes for this breakdown, wow, my respect for the script grew even more. This is a true, they've turned Ant-Man into a true trilogy. I'm impressed. I'm impressed, and we'll go over the trailer and some of my discoveries in a moment. But first, let's talk about this new poster. It's a pretty poster. My biggest complaint about the poster is that that's clearly an illustration of Paul Rudd. Like, it just looks like a not great drawing of Paul Rudd. They're not even trying to say that it's like, what's that, Drew Strassahan, that guy who does all the famous paintings of posters. It doesn't even look like that. You're just like, oh yes, that's supposed to be Paul Rudd. Paul Rudd looks great. Why wouldn't you just use a picture of Paul Rudd? Why don't we have the photorealism of Jonathan Majors back there, who looks phenomenal? I think, Evangeline Lilly's hair looks a little better there. Like many of you, I feel bad that she keeps getting the short end of the stick, or the smaller end of the stick with these movies. And, despite being the first female member of the Avengers and the first leader, period, she's just never gotten her chance to shine. And Evangeline Lilly isn't helping that with some of her behind-the-scenes controversies. It seems like she's already getting replaced by Scott Lang's daughter. And I was going to say there are too many damn people in this movie. Like, look how many people. I mean, it's like nothing, of course, compared to Avengers Endgame. But, I think that some of the Marvel movies or shows and all of this tend to have like a few too many people in them, so we can't really focus on character development. But having now gone over I had those thoughts before I looked at the trailer again. Now having gone through the trailer in depth, I think they need, I don't know if they need all these characters, but I think they're doing a good job balancing them. And what you really have here is two families. You have the Langs and you have the Pim Van Dynes. Maybe Scott and Hope are creating like a combination of that family, but there's still allegiances, and that's a different type of team, and I find that fascinating. Although, where's Fantastic Four going to go from here? I think they're treading a lot of the same ground. I also think it's weird they say witness the beginning of a new dynasty, which is the catchphrase, and of course we're heading towards the Kang dynasty, the next Avengers movie. That'll be the next Avengers movie that comes up. But this is an Ant-Man movie. It's not a Kang movie. By the way, I was on the phone with a friend of mine while my reaction was rendering, and I was like, I can't talk. I'm a little tired. And I was like, I can't talk too much. I got to get onto this trailer breakdown. And I was telling her about the trailer, and I was talking, and she goes, she's like, hold on a second. Is it Kang and Lang? And I was like, oh, don't be silly. And then I thought about it for a moment, and I was like, it is Kang and Lang. It is Kang and Scott Lang. That's hilarious. I was going to also say, because I was like, who wrote this? And I looked up the writer. It's Jeff Loveness. He comes from Rick and Morty and then a lot of like comedy gigs. He's never really written a full script before. And I was going to say, stop hiring all these Rick and Morty writers, Kevin Feige. It's ruining the MCU, or at least severely tarnishing it. But this movie seems to have such good dramatic elements and building blocks to it that, maybe Jeff Loveness did a great job. All right, so let's go through this. But what are your thoughts on the poster? It is a pretty poster, but also the posters for Marvel movies always look the same. Although all movie posters kind of look the same. It's got the blue and orange colors that are, of course, the classic, iconic, most popular colors with audiences for decades. But anyway, let's go through this. All right, so we start out with the same kind of shot that we had from the first trailer. And for a moment, they show a lot of the same footage, and I was a little nervous. I was like, you better have, I heard there was new footage, and thankfully there's plenty of it. So we start out right here, and I want to say, first of all, I do appreciate, all these masks are CGI, and I think it's getting a little old, and I agree with you that not everybody should have the nano masks. Really, only Iron Man should have the nano masks. What I wouldn't give for a practical mask at this point. But at least I respect that, the shrink, the PIM particle technology is kind of where these things come out of nowhere. And at least they do wear full masks all the time to lock themselves into their spacesuits, really, as they travel, through space. And then soon with Kang, time. So this truly is a trilogy tying together all of Scott Lang's life that we've seen in the MCU. It's actually really well done, so allow me to walk you through it as it unfolds in the trailer. So who's he still using a picture of? The Cassie that he remembers. I'll never forget in Avengers Endgame, my favorite Marvel movie still to date. It had tons of great moments, a lot of feels, a lot of emotions. And one of the great moments early on was when Scott realizes that that's his daughter and that she's now all grown up, and he missed it. And it's a very quick moment, but kudos to Paul Rudd, who of course is a great comedic actor, but also has very good dramatic chops as well. So he's perfect for this role. Maybe that's part of what makes this work. And maybe some of the, I don't know, I don't want to say anything bad about other actors, not being able to add the drama, but I will say Paul Rudd seems to be doing a little bit of a better job than everybody else. So anyway, that's how he sees his daughter, right? And Kang is like, and look at the look on his face. Oh, he's so sad, the pathos. I feel so bad for him. And Kang is like, I can give you more time. Right? What's the one thing you're missing? By the way, you might at first think, oh, Cassie's in trouble. Maybe her father not being around has led to a troubled life. But you know who else spent a lot of time in jail? Her dad! So the apple doesn't fall far from the tree. I love it. I love it. I love it. And I think that's very important as we also go forward. So it's great. It's so well done, actually. I'm very impressed. So, it's like he's just really lost. And, oh yeah, right here. Okay, so here, you know who else? What? No, another parent that disappeared into the quantum realm and missed their child growing up? Janet Van Dyne. And I hope there is a conversation between the two of them in this movie about the very unique shared experience that they have. I hope this movie explores, what that's done to Janet. So I think that parallel is amazing. And I think it's so great to explore it. So they're all going to get sucked in. They're going to do with Marvel's Honey, I Shrunk the Kids and ourselves. They get sucked into the quantum realm. Here we go again. And here's Kang. Jonathan Majors is all over this movie. And I got to tell you, I'm not going to complain about the Paul Rudd and Jonathan Majors show. And I just think, they really are leveling up. Although, I'll just say it here. Jonathan Majors has a very interesting speech pattern. It's very dramatic, and I like it quite a bit. But I was like, this sounds familiar. And you know who it sounds like? Forrest Whitaker and Rogue One. I'm surprised. I mean, it just occurred to me now, but that no one on set was like, wait a minute, are you doing Forrest Whitaker? So I think that it's interesting. To me, it undermines the Kang performance just a scooch. But I love Jonathan Majors. I'm a big Jonathan Majors fan. I've been a fan since his first movie role in Hostiles, which I liked. I'm very proud of the fact that I spotted this guy as soon as he appeared. I was like, that's a star. And a star he is becoming. So anyway, he's like, I'm the man who can give you what you need. There's his nano helmet. Those are some beautiful storm blue eyes there. That looks great. And he's like, I can give you what you need. Time. I love the way he says it too. Oh, so seductive. Ooh, are you handing out time? Let me get some of that. And I think it's very compelling to everybody. I think everybody watching. I think it's a really interesting idea. And it makes Kang all the more dangerous as a villain because he has a very valuable currency that he controls. Oh, I got goosebumps from that. He has the typical Marvel garbledygook technology. And, Janet's like, don't trust this guy, man. She says she knows him. Did he make her the same promise? Maybe she tried to get whatever they're trying to get and she couldn't do it. Or she backed out at the last minute. Let's see. So there's something where he's able to duplicate himself. Maybe what's happening is that Kang is duplicating the timeline. Remember, there are lots of Kangs. So maybe he's going to create lots of Scott Langs in one space. That's great. Paul Rudd is the perfect actor for this. He's actually done this before. He's like, oh yeah, this is old news for me. They're like, how about doing hundreds of them? So what is going on at that? I really regret this hair choice. Not only does she not have a big role, but her hair was so amazing in the last movie. Ant-Man and the Wasp. She rocked an amazing ponytail. I don't know where it went when her helmet came up, but who cares? All right, so anyway, look, there's another part here, and then this is a very good shot here. So hold on. Not only do you see Kang's henchmen, which I think are hilarious, but look, wouldn't it be funny if they were all Kangs? Let's give you new meaning to the Clone Wars. But look, there's MODOK. You can see that it is Corey Stoll. It confirms the rumor that it's Corey Stoll, aka Darren Cross, Yellow Jacket, the villain from the first movie. I know how he became MODOK, but that's all I'll say because we don't want to spoil it. But again, this is full circle with the trilogy. They're very much creating a trilogy here, and I respect that. MODOK, I don't know if they're going to be able to make MODOK work. I think it's crazy. I've never liked MODOK. So, although the MCU has sold me on a lot of stuff that I never felt worked in comics or animation. So let's see, I'm open to it. But I hear truly silly character. Although, look at him, of course he is. So they're talking about, look at that. So he's remembering how he left his daughter, and here she is today, and they've lost so much time together. It really is very moving. Very moving. So that's a pretty good shot. That actually looks a little Alex Ross-like to me. Because with the movement of the shrinking, although I have to say, it looks a little bit like artwork, but I have to say this looks an awful lot like a lot of the Doctor Strange action sequences as well. I mean, they gotta clearly delineate the worlds that they're in, the corners of the MCU. They can't have this bleed over is a problem. So he's shrinking down, shrinkity-dink. And then now we go into other parts of the quantum realm, which look exactly like some of the universes that we saw in No Way Home. I mean, it looks exactly like that one universe, except for this beautiful blue ocean of energy, right? And I guess this is going to be one sequence where you see the beauty of the quantum realm. And then it wasn't all bad when Janet was stuck in there, I guess. Oh, well, whatever, She's like, I had a beautiful prison and I mastered it. And so she's given her family. So we see the two families have split up, and they've split up along family lines. And, when I saw the first trailer, I was like, you got too many characters, man. But now I'm like, that's interesting. They're supposed to be one unit, but let's not kid ourselves. When the chips are down, they split up along family lines. And I find that fascinating. So there they go. Now look at that. I love that because it's like a lot of ants working together. And Kang says, you have to get me something. And so what's he asking Scott Lang to do? A heist. And that's what Scott's specialty is. I think that's fascinating that they're using that skill set that's unique to Scott Lang as Ant-Man that differentiates him from Hank Pym. So I love that. I just think that's fantastic. And then again, that ant visual is very cool. So it's a mountain. It's a mountain of Scott Lang's, and they're trying to get something there. Doesn't look easy. And so I'm curious what's going on with some kind of portal. We'll see what happens here. Looks very Doctor Strangey. I don't care if they're supposed to be the science world. So there's Kang, and he's like, God damn it. Kang's like, really. Some of you said he's Kangry. I've never heard that term before. Maybe, is it from like the animated series or something? But I feel he needs maybe a Snickers. There's a commercial just waiting to happen, a crossover. But I wonder what's going on in the distance there. But he's just like, he's really been in here for a long time. He's just at the end of his rope. So he launches his troops, his glowy troops. And I don't like that shot because I feel like they're running in the volume. I'm like, you're just like, it's like almost like Cirque du Soleil. All right, so again, family lines, and she says, it's all my fault. And it's like, it kind of is. Maybe you shouldn't have built that tracker, but that's okay, Cassie. It happens. We wouldn't be able to have this movie. I don't like this because it reminds me of, we just saw Mr. Fantastic get torn literally to the same shreds in Multiverse of Madness. So this is great. So he's like, you might not want her to see this because he's a villain and he's like a hardcore villain. I like this a lot. So he's like, you might not want her to see this. So the henchmen are dragging her away, and he's like, we had a deal. And Kang's like, did we now? I've never seen someone wear a superhero suit with that kind of like helmet so cool, like so well. I'm like, wow, he's really rocking that purple suit. I mean, it's amazing. He's like, yeah, this is my look. I love it. I mean, I'm very impressed with Jonathan Majors' commitment. It's great. So I guess that portal is maybe to get out of there, and Kang's not letting him go. So, and Scott Lang is not a fighter. I thought it was funny at the beginning of the movie. He's like, you're an Avenger. And I'm like, nah, kind of. He's like a reserve Avenger. He's like the Avenger comedic relief, which is, well, actually, it's a tough job considering how funny all the Avengers are. So, I think that's Cassia's stature. I bet she's really big there. So, the Young Avengers, as I've been telling you for a while, it's taken them forever to get here, but here's another one of them. So, it looks like she's on a learning curve. And then there's some kind of explosion. And there's MODOK, so he can pull down his mask. So obviously, not only does that allow him to have an armored look, but I'm sure when he first appears, you won't know that it's Darren Cross. The characters won't know it's Darren Cross, but now that they showed it in the back of the trailer, we all know that it's Darren Cross. But yeah, there he is. All I'll say is that I hear that MODOK has a character arc in this film. And there are very high stakes. A lot of you are like, oh, I'm worried that, something bad is going to happen to Scott Lang. And I will tell you, this movie does have major consequences beyond just the introduction of Kang. That's all I'll say. So look, Jonathan Majors is like, I beefed up for Creed 3. I want to take off one of these sleeves. And I got to say, I appreciate it. That is, he has done an impressive job in the gym. And he is really wailing. I'm like, Ant-Man, you can't fight that guy. Just look at his arm. This is as big as your head. So I think that this is, earlier where Ant-Man is trying to accomplish and get something for Kang. I mean, things aren't going so well. I think the Wasp comes in at the last minute and helps him out there. So that's great. That's really beautiful. Here comes Tinkerbell, baby. She gets him. And I like that look between them. She still looks fantastic in her mask. As bad as her hair looks, her eyebrows and mascara, phenomenal. She should be doing Maybelline commercials. A lot of commercial opportunities here. So I love this line. So Kang's like, I love the way he delivers it. He has a little bit more style here in some of the later shots, like he did in Loki. Kang is such a big villain, and there are, of course, multiple versions of Kang, that he's the villain in multiple movies, apparently. So here, Thanos, of course, did the same thing, but he was more in the background of all the other movies until he took he was front and center in the 2 Avengers movies. But Kang, he's not only going to be the villain here, he's coming back for Loki season 2. He was in Loki season 1, and then he's, of course, Kang Dynasty, and then there's a rumor that he's going to be the villain, another version of him in Secret Wars. So Jonathan Majors, good for him. Good thing he's so personable, because we're going to be seeing a lot of him. So I love this line. He's, boy, he really stomps on him. Like, wow. That's like an unusual level of aggression for a Marvel movie. And look, he puts a hole in the helmet. Oh, I love this. And he says, I didn't have to win. We both just have to lose. Amazing line. And the sacrifice is just incredible. I love it. And I think it really speaks a lot to Scott Lang as a great character, because, he's not the top Avenger, but he knows that. And there's an honor, and he's like Viserys, right? Another great dad. He's like Viserys, and he knows that even if he has to sacrifice himself, he gets the mission done. That's incredible. I love that. That's really great. And this is a great line, too. I missed this in the trailer reaction, and one of you put it in the comments, and then I saw it here again. I was like, when did he say he was sorry? And then I saw it here, and it was amazing. And he says, I'm sorry, Cassie. And the way he says it is just like, you just feel it. You're like, oh my God, rescue that guy. It's like, it is. I think Viserys is a great comparison. And that's when he says it, right there. Look at the look on his face. It's like, I'm sorry, Cassie. Oh my God. And so there's Kang. Kang's like, oh, I'm tired of this. I'm surrounded by amateurs. So right out of the comics, by the way, on the floating discs, the helmet, the suit, they are making it all work. And he's really, look at him. Yeah, he's having a very bad day. Give that man a Snickers. He's Kangry. That's great. So Ant-Man and the Wasp Quantumania. It's getting crazy in here. So yeah, so even though I feel that this doesn't do enough to distinguish itself from other Marvel movies, particularly as of late, it feels particularly very Doctor Strange to me. And we just saw a Doctor Strange movie. But I am so impressed with the script and creating a true trilogy and a journey for Scott Lang. And to really, I think this movie could have the feels. And I think we're tired of laughing all the way through Marvel movies. And I still want to laugh. And I think this movie looks like it's very funny. But I think if they can get that balance back, which was what made Marvel stand out, of being both funny and sad, then they'll be back in their sweet spot. So I have hope for this. I have hope. So what did you think? What do you think of the things that we discovered here? What are your favorite elements of the trailer? What are you the most hopeful for? What characters look the coolest to you? And which do you think could use a little work? Share those thoughts down below. Subscribe today. And of course, as always, you can check out some more videos right now.